Hey, all. Welcome back to the Anchored and Ascending podcast, where we are your guide from grounded to greatness. I'm your host, Ryan Johnston, and if this is your first time here, welcome. If you've been here before, I'm really glad that you came back. Hope that you like and subscribe and follow our page, and hopefully it'll give you some great assets to move forward in your life to achieving your goals. Speaking of goals, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Goals. Now, not the surface level kind, not the write it down and hustle harder kind, but the kind of goals that actually last. The kind that you don't burn out. The kind that feel aligned instead of forced. Because if you're listening to this, there's a good chance that you may feel stuck. Not lazy, not incapable, just stuck. Sometimes that happens in life. We just feel stuck. So let me start with this. Most people don't fail in their goals because they lack motivation. That's not it at all. Most people are motivated, but they fail because they set goals that is not anchored in who they are. Let me repeat that. The goals they set for themselves are not anchored into who they are as a person, their identity, their values, what they deem is important or unimportant. You see, we're taught to ask, what do you want to achieve? Which is a great and noble question, but rarely are we taught to ask, who am I becoming? Or better yet, who am I becoming in this process? And you see, that only furthers us down the road and leads to problems. Because when the goals are disconnected from our identity, discipline feels like punishment. Progress, then, in whatever area that may be, maybe it's good progress, but it still feels heavy. And success, even when you reach it, may feel hollow to you, or empty even, I've heard people say. You can climb very high on the wrong ladder, whether that's chasing self-worth, or that's chasing some kind of monetary ends, or a profession or career advancement. But you see, this is the very reason why Anchored and Ascending exists. Because we believe in identity before achievement, inner work before successful growth. Because as you and I probably are aware, the more that we work on ourselves, that only allows us to progress further down the road to who we want to become, and that's something great. So we can't ascend in that direction, and we can't climb to achievement without finding out our own identity, but also by anchoring ourselves and being rooted in and grounded in what matters most. And that's you. You matter. Here's a truth that changed everything for me. Goals aren't something that we bully ourselves into. Maybe you're like me. Maybe sometime in your life you're like, well, I have to do this, so therefore I'm just going to beat myself up over and over and over until I finally get it done, and then I can mark that off my list, right? But the more that we bully ourselves into it, the more that we become disconnected from truly what we want. There's something you uncover through this discernment process of your goals. And discernment is not overthinking. It's not perfectionism. It's not waiting forever. You see, discernment is learning to listen to what actually matters. Instead of asking, well, what would impress other people? Or what can get me more people to like or follow or that I can influence? If you're looking for true inner growth, you ask yourself this question then: what feels aligned to my desires, even if no one applauds it? Let me repeat that. What aligns with my values or my goals or my desires, even if no one around me may applaud it? So, what are you being pulled towards? Sometimes we feel like we're being pulled in many different directions. If you're like me, I'm married and have children, and sometimes I feel like I'm pulled in the direction of dad and father and the provider and protector of our family. And that's tough sometimes. It's overwhelming. Or maybe you're in your marketplace, right? And with your career and your profession, and you feel pulled in that direction, like you have to give so much to it and dedicate so much of your life and commitment to a job or a place or a corporation or a business. And sometimes these things don't align with our goals, but more importantly, they don't align with who we are. You see, because some of the most powerful goals that we develop as an individual, it doesn't arrive loudly. Sometimes it's a gentle whisper. It's that longing within our heart, our spirit of what next. Because life gets so noisy. And in that noise, we seem to lose our goals. We lose our values. And some people have even said, or make the connotation to, we lose ourself, the process. So how do we then anchor our identity? How do we figure out and find out who we are as people? You see, before we can start talking about or even taking action steps, we need to talk about anchoring ourselves. Because if you're not anchored, every setback shakes you up, right? Every delay feels personal. Every comparison that you begin to see or think or feel or trying to compare yourself to someone else, it just feels off because that's not who you are. You're not in that comparison trap of everyone else and living out everyone else's goals or everyone else's dreams. That's just not you. You're not your productivity. You're not your timeline. You're not what you can do and get and give to everyone else. And you are not behind. You're enough. You, as you are, who you are, your current state is enough. But in that enough current state, you must also realize that you are a person in progress. You're in the process of improving yourself by progressing towards the future version of yourself that you want to ascend to. But when your identity is clear, then, in this component, if your identity is clear, goals stop feeling like pressure, but rather they start feeling like direction. You start becoming aligned where you need to be activated to then ascend and then achieve greatness in your life. Does it start easily? No. Anything that's of worth is not easy. It's hard. It's difficult. It's tough. It's not easy. And through this process, you have to find discipline. So let's talk about discipline for just a second. Discipline may have a bad reputation among some people and in some circles. People think it means being harsh on yourself or with others, but it doesn't have to mean that at all. Real discipline is self-respect in action. Motivation is emotional, and that motivation sometimes changes in the webs and ebbs and ups and downs and flows of life. We get emotional, and that motivation of why we may want something changes over time. But discipline is foundational to achieving your goals. Discipline is foundational to who you are as a person and who you want to develop into. Discipline says, I'll show up no matter what, because it matters to who I am. That's discipline. You see, you don't need more hype. You need clarity in your goals. You need consistency in your goals. Small, steady, actionable, aligned goals that will help you achieve whatever you're setting out for. And that discipline occurs through that consistency and that stability of doing those goals or trying to chase those goals every single day, day in and day out. Does it get tiring? Yeah. Does it get monotonous? Absolutely. But each day that you show up for yourself now and your present self gets you one day closer to your future self in achieving your goals. You see, that's how grounded people grow. That's what it means for us to help be your guide from grounded to greatness. And you see, there's another truth with this. It doesn't happen overnight. And that's what's hard for some people. You see, fast progress in the wrong direction is not success. Don't act like it is. Don't think like it is, because it's not. You see, the speed and how quickly you move without alignment and focus is going to lead to burnout. Achievement without anchoring leads to emptiness in whatever we may be chasing. However, when you move with alignment and you are activated to move forward in the proper direction to achieve your goals, you then stop comparing. You stop rushing. You stop pressuring yourself even to get where you want to go, because you know it's a consistent, daily, slow, habitual action that is going to get you to where you want to be and to where you want to ascend to. The hard part? You gotta trust the process. That's where it gets difficult. Trusting the process. But if you trust yourself, you'll trust the process along the way. So let me leave you with something practical, right? Something simple, something grounded in this. Who am I becoming in this season of my life? Step one is just figuring out that question. That one question. Step one, write this down. Who am I becoming in this season of my life? Step two, alignment. Which goals do I have that support the identity for my alignment? What goals do I have support my identity for my alignment? Step three, I know I mentioned it and we just covered it, but it's discipline. What small actions can I commit to consistently? Now, that consistently may mean daily, it may be weekly, it may be monthly, but whatever it is, write down, because that's part of discipline, what small actionable steps can I commit to consistently? Step four in this is, can I let growth unfold with me without forcing it? I know early on in this conversation, I talked about kind of bullying ourselves and pressuring ourselves, but the question then becomes, can we be patient with ourselves? Can we give grace to ourselves? And can I let growth unfold in front of me without forcing it? You see, because that is what anchored growth is. That's what it means from going from grounded to greatness. So before you go, and before we close up this podcast for the week, I want us to stop for just a second, and I want you to sit with this question that I'm about to ask you. And I want you to think upon it. I want you to meditate upon it. I want you to reflect on it. Write some things down, write some goals, talk through this maybe with your spouse, a significant other, a friend, a colleague, or feel free to book through our site, and we will talk with you through the process of achieving your goals. But the question is this: what would change if I stopped chasing who I think I should be and started building upon who I truly am? I'm going to repeat that. You're going to see the exact same question in the comments and in the description for this. So I hope you like and subscribe, follow for more. But here's the question, and you need to think through this to answer it. What would change if I stopped chasing who I think I should be and started building upon who I truly am? Because that's what matters. If this episode resonated with you, I ask that you would subscribe, like, share, follow, all the good stuff. Because we want to get this message out there, and we want more people to understand and hear what the anchored and ascending lifestyle truly is. So let us help guide you from grounded to greatness. Anchored and Ascending is here, and we want to help. So I hope you listen and enjoy the time together, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.